Good evening, everybody. Please don't adjust your screens. This is actually Wayne Martin in a pair of glasses and a baseball cap. It's not Chris Evans, Jarvis Cocker, or Joe 90 after far too many pints on a Saturday afternoon. It turns out that my eyesight has been appalling for years, and whilst I've been squinting away, I decided one day randomly to go and get my eyes tested, and thank goodness I did, because my standard was below that required for driving a car, strangely. As a result, I've got these bloody great things now stuck on my face. Still not quite sure whether I like them or not. Interested to hear your thoughts. Do let me know and comment below. But that's not the purpose of today's vlog. It has been just over 6 weeks since I competed in the Amateur UK Championships in Margate. There are now just under 24 weeks to go until the Pro World Championships. A lot's happened in the last 6 weeks, and a lot is going to happen over the next 24. So I thought I'd just explain briefly what's happened and what's going to happen. So the one mistake I made post-competition was not thinking about what would happen after I stepped off stage. All of the preparation in the very many weeks leading up to the 1st of April was all about how I got myself prepped for stage. Didn't give a moment's thought to what happened or what should happen on the 2nd of April. So my advice to anyone who is about to compete with any federation is don't overlook what happens after you come off stage, because the emotional and psychological impact of not competing hit me very hard. I lost my motivation, I lost my mojo. Someone described it as like going through sort of a mini grieving type period, and it was to a certain extent, because my entire life had been focused on prepping for comp, and I neglected giving any thought to a plan of what we would do afterwards. So the last 6 weeks have been incredibly tough emotionally and psychologically. What I've been very guilty of doing, though, is setting myself very unrealistic goals. And when I say unrealistic, I mean just mental, really. I am still 100% committed to doing my best at the World Championships at the end of October. But I was convinced that I needed to step up several notches, and that I'd end up making myself look daft on stage, and I was putting myself under ridiculous amounts of unreasonable, unnecessary pressure. And it was in several conversations over the course of the last 6 weeks, which culminated in some very lengthy conversations with 2 pure elite pros at Body Power, 3 actually. Four. So Lucy Fox-Walton, Tim Chase, Sean Ferguson, and Laurie Gormley. I spent a huge amount of time bending all 4 of those guys' ears and running some ideas past them, and they gave some incredible advice, which I'm now in the process of putting into place. So the one thing that has become obvious to me is that I have to realise I'm still a newbie and a novice at the gym. I've been training for less than 2 years. What was also obvious is that whilst I'm incredibly proud of the transformation that I've achieved, my physique and my muscularity in my body is still adjusting to not being fat. What I mean by that is I don't have the muscle maturity that a number of competitors my age have. I haven't been training at the gym long enough to achieve that. And there are a lot of areas of my physique that need a lot of development and growth in order to achieve the ultimate physique that I'm aiming for. So that has slightly changed what I'm going to be doing over the next weeks, months and years. And the years bit is the bit that's changed. So this year I'm going to be entering 2 more competitions. The first is on the 14th of October with UK-UP, the Northern Championships in York. And I'm very much using that as a dress rehearsal for the Pure Elite World Championships 2 weeks later. It's a different federation, different judging criteria, different expectations, different competitors. I'd like to get exposure to a different federation, but I'd also like to have a stretch target and aim for the best possible condition 2 weeks out from the World Championships. Focus and effort will be on making sure that at the end of October I bring a better package to stage than the one that I delivered on the 1st of April. That could mean increased muscularity and size, albeit the change between April and October is such a short period of time that I need to make sure that my expectations for size and growth are realistic. I'm not going to pack on 5 kilos of muscle in that period of time, not naturally anyway. The second thing that I need to reflect on is that there are other areas to work on: posing, stage confidence and stage presence, and significant improvements in those fields can be worked on. So I'm going to spend quite a lot of time doing that. Then the likelihood is 2018 will be a year off from competing, and I will be using that year to consolidate my performance in the gym and to grow as much as possible. And I won't be stepping on stage again until either the end of 2018 or the 2019 competing season. We'll see where we get to during that year. So really I've got 2 competitions to focus on this year, and then at least 12 months off, which will please everybody around me. The other thing that I've been conscious of doing is I've not got anywhere near enough rest, and I am overtraining massively at the gym. And that's not my coach's fault. That is me insisting on having a 6-day per week training session. And what I've realised is that my rants about not having growth in my chest are a product of 2 things: me overtraining and not training smart enough at the gym, and 2, me not allowing myself enough time to rest and recover between training sessions. So the next thing that happens from tomorrow is we completely change the way that we train, and we change the focus of each training session, and we devote as much time to rest and recovery as we do to training. Nutrition is what nutrition needs to be, so I'll continue to have the macronutrient support that my body and my metabolism need in order to effect that growth. But the biggest 2 mistakes I've been making is not resting enough, not recovering, and not training in the right way. I've been guilty of that major schoolboy newbie error of thinking that spending longer in the gym is going to yield better results, and going to the gym more often is going to yield better results. Whereas actually I need to be going to the gym for a specific purpose, to achieve whatever it is exercise regime I've been made to do or told to do that day, and then to leave, and then to rest, and then to come back at an agreed point in time in the future and do whatever it is I'm supposed to do at the gym on that day. The other thing I've been focused on is ego. I've had a bit of ego, despite the fact that I try and keep it at the door of the gym. I've still brought it in. I'm still focused on the weights I'm throwing around the gym. And as Sean Ferguson reminded, and Laurie actually reminded me at Body Power, you don't win any prizes for lifting 200 kilos on the deadlift. If you want to win prizes for doing that, then you need to become a power lifter and not a fitness competitor. And they are right. We get assessed on the balance of our aesthetic, not on whether we can stick 60 kilo dumbbells in the air. Now there is a correlation between strength and muscularity, I get you, but that is different depending on each individual person. And just because one person lifts 60 kilos doesn't necessarily mean I have to do that. I have to lift the weight that's appropriate to my experience in the gym and to the size of my physique at that point in time. I've also finally accepted, it's taken 6 weeks of hard reflection, that I'm not going to become Tom Coleman overnight. That's going to take years and years, and in fact it may never even happen, but it's certainly going to take a minimum of many, many years. So I need to be starting to think about competing over years, and thinking about the timescale that I might win that competition is years in the making, not months. So on that note, I've got one announcement which will be followed up by a series of announcements over the coming days. The first thing to say is a huge public thank you to Tim Ollie Renshaw, my coach. Tim took me on 11 and a half weeks out from competition. He dragged me through that preparation, and he's got me through the last 6 weeks since competition. I will be incredibly grateful for Tim for a long time. Tim was a great friend before he was my coach, and he will always be a great friend. But we've decided that Tim needs to focus more of his attention on building and expanding his business, on his family down in Somerset. He has given me more than enough time already. He's been far too generous with his time, and so we've decided that as of today, we will be changing, I'll be changing coaches effectively. We part on incredibly friendly and amicable terms. I'm very much looking forward to heading back to Tim's gym as his friend again in the future, not training with him as my coach, which is going to be phenomenal. So thank you, Tim, You've been amazing. Words can't express how grateful I am for what you have done for me. Tomorrow we're making an announcement over who will be coaching me going forward. There's been a lot of conversations this afternoon and this evening. There are plans in place. It's very exciting. I'm looking forward to getting to the Worlds and beyond. So there'll be an announcement to follow on that. The one thing I'll say though is the last 6 weeks has given me plenty of opportunity to reflect on my character, my strengths, my weaknesses, and what I need to do. And whilst I have very publicly allowed that roller coaster of emotions to be exposed and for people to see it, it was done with the intent that to show that actually competing isn't just about prepping for stage. There's a lot that needs to go into what happens afterwards. I have been guilty of having a couple of binges in terms of eating, and I've had far too much time off the gym, but I don't have any regrets about that. It's all part of that learning curve and that learning experience. I do spend too much time on the scales, which will now need to stop or suddenly reduce. And as I said, my entire mindset, timescales, goals, approach, psychology, all needed to change, but I needed to go through that 6-week learning experience to find out which elements needed to change and how I was going to go about doing it, and I think I've achieved that now. So the other thing that's been quite distracting the last 6 weeks is the number of media interviews I've done. I mean, there are some who think that I post these videos and have social media accounts because I'm a narcissist striving some sort of pseudo-celebrity status, and it's not true at all. I'm merely recording my journey, both as a memory for me in the future, but also to help other people realise that yes, there is a glamorous element of it. Yes, everybody looks amazing on stage, they look phenomenal, but it's really fucking hard work actually. And for the 2 or 3 minutes you're on stage, there are hours and hours and hours of effort and hard work in order to get there, and that shouldn't be underestimated. Having said that, I don't want to put people off from thinking about competing because it is the single most rewarding thing I've ever done. So if you are thinking about it, stop thinking about it. Get onto the internet. In fact, stop this video, pause it, and come back later. Stop this video, go onto the Pure Elite webpage, register for the 1st of July or 28th of October, and bite the bullet, aim for a great target, go for it, and enjoy it. But think about what you're going to do afterwards. That's the only advice I'll give you. The media interviews I've done over the last 6 weeks have all been incredibly cathartic and great therapy. They've enabled me to permanently seal off some of the demons from the past that have been haunting me. They've also provided some useful tips and hints for people thinking about their transformations, and I'm very much looking forward to the BBC TV programme that hopefully gets broadcast this week after a couple of weeks worth of delays. And I'm very much looking forward to next Monday going up to Nottingham Beeston's Pure Gym and spending some time with Sam Cully and the guys at Pure Gym and talking about my transformation, hopefully helping some of the people up there who are thinking about starting theirs. So I'm very much looking forward to that. But with just under 24 weeks to go, it's now time to shift focus towards the UK UP Northern Championships and the Pure Elite World Championships and making sure that I'm fully prepared for those. As I say, over the coming days, weeks and months, there'll be insights into how we are going to deliver that. But it effectively for me means training less, but training smarter, training harder, and remembering that I'm in a fitness modelling competition, not a powerlifting or a weightlifting one. The one thing I'll end on saying is I sit here tonight with a much better psychology than when I started a year and a half ago. I'm much calmer, much more able to deal with stress and pressure, but still discovering new things about me every single day. And that's one of the most exciting things about this journey, is that it's a journey of continuous self-discovery and improvement. That's not just the physical, it's the mental, the emotional, and the psychological. So to anyone thinking about starting it, just do it. It's the single best thing you will ever do, and you will have no regrets. And on that note, as it's quite late and I still need to eat my salmon, it's time I take my Jarvis Cocker lookalike face and cook some tea. I'll speak to you all soon. Take care, guys. Bye-bye.